Hello there, fellow summoners. Mad Dog HT here, and we're going into variant 6. I think this is chapter 2.2. And this is the weakness path. What's the node called again? What's yours is mine. And this is before they nerfed it. So this is probably like day 3. This was one of the last later paths that I was doing because I do all of my chapters in order or whatever. But I'm going to go in with Void. I did try Joe Fixit, Ronan, and Green Goblin, and they were all just terrible. At least with this guy. This guy is kind of a nightmare. I really do not like Mojo, and then this just kind of what's yours is mine on top of it. So basically the plan is right there is I threw an L2. You know, normally with Void you do a lot of spamming of L1s, but on Void's L2, he puts on that Dark Sting, and after they activate a special while it's up, you get 2 debuffs applied, and you can get a weakness and or a degen. And so on that time, I actually got the best of both worlds for this case, which was a weakness and a degen. And so my hits were doing normal damage. Here I get off another L2. I'm trying to manage this dude's prompts and everything as best I can, and so far so good. And this time I get 2 weaknesses, and you can see like Void is actually hitting well, and then when you hit into the block, there's that like Tyrant node, and so I'm getting some extra energy damage. And here I've triggered whatever the prompt was. I'm trying to stall it out, not trigger that dex, but I'm like, nah, I'll just go ahead and do it. And now I have dodge a hit, so I'm gonna try to not trigger dex. I hit him with another L2, and I just need to get him to throw a special. Now he has the use special attack prompt, which kind of sucks. If he throws this, I'm just going to try to block it. And now it's dash backwards, and it's like, okay, well, I'm going to dash backwards, dancing around, block all that. I had that dex up, and so I triggered the degen, and it's getting close here. I don't have the weakness up anymore. I just triggered another prompt. So just sometimes just the prompts can be really painful. The dash back, block a hit, those are the worst. Some of these other ones like end a buff, dex, dodge and attack, stuff like that, you can kind of get around by blocking and stuff. Now he has used a special attack, and I want him to throw the L1, but yeah, now it's whole block. So that one can be good because you can kind of manipulate how that works out. But I got cornered, and I held block, and we're getting down to the very end, and 2% to 3%, 1%. I'm just hitting into his block. Whew. That was close. So that was my first attempt with Void, and soloed it. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm going for it. And you can see my team, I got double Void, Omega Red, Killmonger, so totally like the Unholy Trinity synergy going on. Then have just Guardian on the team for the extra block proficiency. And so I healed up Void, because Void wasn't going to do any good at, you know, the 2% or whatever he ended up at. And I didn't heal him up all the way, but I do have the Killmonger synergy, so you know, every IP debuff that is getting applied, whether through the timer or through an L1, I do get 1% heal on that. But I'm going to be trying to throw as many L2s as possible because I want those weaknesses, and there I got a weakness and a degen. So now I'm going to be doing normal damage, and yeah, so you can see he's kind of, you know, it's melting pretty good. And then I missed the L1. You know, I don't know what it is, but I admit I do have trouble with the timing on Gulk's L1 more often than I would like to admit. That one I was just like, I'm just gonna block it, and that took a lot of health. So I'm gonna try to get back up to L2, fire it, and hopefully he will throw off a special. He does. I do dex that one. I do get another weakness and a degen. That's kind of the best of the both worlds, because one, you do get damage for each debuff, regardless if it's intimidating presence or not. And those weaknesses and degens are not. And then you get the degen damage on top. So yeah, so this guy's going down. Get the dex on that L1, and I'm just kind of slow playing this a little bit. With Fear of the Void on, it's 214 a tick, which isn't like great. Get the dex on that one, but it is free damage, and now I got 2 Fear of the Voids up. And I wish I could have gotten an L2 off with a weakness, because 2 Fear of the Voids with the weakness, that would have been some big damage. And then I miss the L1 evade. Yeah. So we go back in with my other Void. I have a rank 2 6-star Void, unawakened, which is not ideal, but he still works. And the fact that my plan is to throw a lot of L2s, it's gonna help maximize my damage quite a bit, because I'm gonna have the debuffs, the regular debuffs on longer. Besides having it cycle through and hit all 6 and then try to go into Fear of the Void and then not, because obviously I'm not awakened on Void, and you can't go into Fear of the Void. So on that L2 though, I got double degen, which isn't great because I need a weakness to do some big damage. But you can see it's gonna take a long while for the intimidating presence debuffs to get applied, and there I wasn't paying attention. He still had his unstoppable smash thing up, and I got smashed. And then I had gotten double degen again on that last L2, so I haven't gotten weaknesses on this one, which has been unfortunate. And there I get smacked, but he had double weakness on, so that actually hurt a lot less than it would have. And then he died. So it wasn't terrible. Definitely could have done a better job on that Gulk. But here I'm going in with Omega. Now, what's yours is mine is on. It's going to mitigate a lot of the damage that can be done. I don't have the Sabertooth synergy, which I think probably could have maybe helped me more. I don't know. The block proficiency from Guardian, it's quite significant, and I know it helped a ton. But basically, I'm just going to try to slow play this. Elsa, she can shrug off debuffs when they last longer than 2 seconds or something like that. But with the 10 spores with Omega, she can't. He has 100% ability accuracy reduction on those shrug off. So she can't shrug off the degen and the lock-in of those spores. And I'm just trying to keep as many spores on this chick as possible. And I know I mess up here. Yeah, right there. I know I mess up here. And it gets a little dicey. She tags me, and then my spores all fall off because I'm just trying to bait the L1, because I know I can fully evade or get some blocks in there on that L1. I know that I'm much more comfortable with L1. L2, just a whole big barrage of bullets and take more block damage. So I'm just trying to make sure that I can get spores on her. Here I got 10 spores, and I'm going to go for an L3, and it's going to do some power drain, and I'm going to get some heal. Because I'm low health. I can't do too many parries. Can't take too much block damage. and it drains her just enough to get her under 2 bars. And see, like there, I can dex that L1 pretty much all day. I'm comfortable doing that. Here I'm going to get a health steal. And so, we're trying to work our way back up to where we have a reasonable amount of health in case, we'll have some chip damage because these, 49k, 50k PI champs, these guys hit hard. But yeah, I need the spores to be up there to be able to lock in that degen. Otherwise, she has a chance to shrug it off. So now we're at 7. She's not shrugging it off, which is good. Now she's at 10. Lock it in, relock it in. And, the damage is not terrible. We got 100 and 244, so about 350 a tick. It's not bad. With not having a weakness available, I'll take it. And so now I'm going to do another L3 to get more drain and health steal. And just make sure that I kind of keep Omega in a range where he can take some block damage and whatnot. And now we're almost back up to 40%. And basically he can do this fight. Now, Kabam nerfed this whole lane by taking off the what's yours is mine. If you had the mastery resonate, then this path wouldn't be hard at all, but that's not a typical mastery that most people run. And it's expensive and it's deep in the defensive tree. And I typically don't run a lot of defensive masteries. For the longest time this year, I didn't even run willpower. There's the L2, some block damage on that. But yeah, so they took it off, and I think it was the right thing to do, generally speaking. This whole path is going to take about an hour if you look at the time codes and everything, and if you're still watching and listening, it takes a long time to get some of these champs down because I'm using champs that don't do a weakness. So I'm doing 25% damage the whole fight. So basically it's like 4 times the fight than it would be. Now, variant 6 was super, super easy, I think, at least with my champs. Generally, I had counters to cheese a lot of the fights that made it super easy. So, I don't know. This one path, I think, was definitely the most challenging. It was the longest path. Definitely that Mojo. I'm just glad I was able to solo it and not give him charges and whatnot. But, I don't mind it. One path, it's fine. But yeah, this is taking a lot of hits. We're at 150 something combo, plus, she's been doing this damage over time with the spore damage the whole time, and I know I got hit towards the beginning, so I'm not sure. It's probably going to come up to around, I don't know, 180 hits or something like that. But yeah, between Omega and Killmonger, I do use them on the path. And then I do use a couple of revives, which I have revives plenty. You'll see at the very, very end of the video, I go and claim some, and I still have just tons left. But yeah, so here we're almost done with this Elsa. I do another L3 power steal, and we get her just under L2. This fight, besides getting hit towards the very, very beginning, this fight goes well. I recover, and look, now I'm at 53%. Can't remember how much I end up with. I don't think I get hit again. But yeah, so this fight goes well. It's over 200 hits, and this is a long, long fight. Okay, 209 plus whatever. What did I lose? 237 hits. That's a lot, especially a lot of the damage was coming from spore stuff. So yeah, we're moving on. We got Juggernaut. And we're going to go back in with Void. We're going to have a class advantage on Juggy, and we're just going to try to get off L2s and get this guy down. I think I get him down pretty easily. What am I doing here? I'm going to my inventory, claiming some stuff. Yeah, I mean, my inventory is pretty stacked. And then look, I still got the compensation from Act 6. I got plenty of stuff. So, I mean, I know people were asking, hey, we're going to get compensated for this path. You know, I mean, if you happen to do this path in the first couple days, well, you know, that's what you got. You got your rewards early, and, you know, this path may have sucked. I don't know, maybe it sucked more than others because, I mean, I have 2 voids, so that definitely does help. But I don't know. I think once you get past that Mojo, which, as you can see, it's definitely soloable with What's Yours Is Mine. You know, the rest of the path isn't terrible. I mean, the only other fight that gave me issues was the Nick Fury, and I was using Omega, and I was just being cheap about it, and I didn't heal. I used a bunch of L1 revives to kind of get him down. But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, not everybody's in the same situation where they have a full stash of stuff like I do. But I mean, it's one path, and the fact that the rest of the whole variant 6 has been pretty easy, where you really don't need much of any items. I don't know. To me, it was surprising how easy it was, and you know, again, you know, a lot of people probably don't have all the best counters like Doom and Venom. They were key. I mean, most people probably have Venom. Doom is a newer champ, but I don't know. I mean, for one, I didn't have a Magneto, so I don't have either a white mags or the red mags as a 5 or a 6 star, and so I ended up ranking my 4-star to 550 specifically for this event because he was a key player into cheesing some stuff and making it super easy. And even a 550 was doing it with his magnetism, which is kind of crazy. But anyways, I'm off on a tangent. If you're still watching, thank you. And yeah, this Jugs is going down pretty well. I mean, I'm trying to get those L2s off and trying to get him to throw a special. I think on this one he doesn't end up throwing a special. Oh no, he does. There we go. We do get a weakness, and that's great. So like, look at that damage. It was 1,400 a tick that was going on right there. And I got smacked. And I think I'm gonna go for another L2. Do I get it off? No, I don't get it off before those weaknesses fall off. But yeah, so like, look, we're getting 140 a tick, and we're gonna throw off an L2. Do we get a weakness? Let's see. Yes, we do. And then look at that, 1,200 going for a little bit. I'm not sure why it was all ramped up and then it fell off like that, because the weakness and stuff is still on there. That's kind of odd. But anyway, this guy is about to go down. I got hit once or twice. I think I've gone through like 2 full cycles of IP debuffs. There we go, big damage again. It's interesting. It's like it. I don't know if the notes, but when he was unstoppable, he was taking more damage, which is interesting with that weakness up. But there we go. We got Juggy down. He was soloed. And then we're going to go into Longshot, and we're going to solo Longshot. Pretty certain I solo this guy with my 6-star Void. And yeah, we're just gonna be throwing L2s, trying to get those weaknesses. And I think for the most part, I think I'm gonna try to keep him sticking to throwing his L1 because I just feel like that's an easier special attack to kind of get around. Now this guy can incinerate like a freaking madman on his L2, but Void is incinerate immune, so you don't really have to worry about that. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna play it safe and just kind of slow, hit him with those L2s. Hopefully he throws the special while those dark stings are up, and I get both the weakness and the degen like right there. So that's like perfect, getting some good damage going. And I know if you hit into their block, you get extra damage when that weakness is up. But I don't think I used that too much. And maybe I should have. It's just usually not typically how I'm playing Void though. So here we push up to an L2, and let's go throw your special. Yeah, there we go. Get out of that, whatever the little rock metal piece falling from the ceiling. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be. Here we got 2 weaknesses on him. So our damage over time stuff was going for like what, 186 a tick. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. I mean, but this guy's going down. This is a long fight still. Even getting those weaknesses. And yeah, I know we do get this guy down. I'll let this play out to the end. You know, I probably should have revived my 5-star Void. It would have made these fights even faster with the Fear of the Void and being able to cycle more debuffs during that while I'm just trying to spam L2s. But yeah, I'll let this play out, and I'll see you towards the end of this fight. All right, we're finishing up. It's been a long fight. I got hit a few times, but the Killmonger synergy has been keeping me healthy. Pretty much started where I ended as far as health. And here I'm gonna go in. I think I go in on this stealth Spidey with Omega, and I end up dying, which is unfortunate. I think I end up missing an evade. Pretty close towards the beginning. I was hoping that I could just keep a bunch of spores on this dude, and melt him down with, being class advantage. The spore damage is pretty, it's fairly decent. I mean, it's not the best. I mean, you're still at 75%. I get tagged coming in on that heavy, but I know I get smacked somewhere close here, and then I'm gonna come back in with Killmonger, and Killmonger is a decent option to fight against stealth just because you can get the true strike when you counter the special attacks. So yeah, Killmonger is gonna be a decent option. Do I mess up here? I mess up somewhere. I thought it was towards the beginning, but Omega can do this fight, and definitely when with the what's yours is mine off. Omega's a good villain for a lot of the guys on this path. For Elsa, Stealth, Fury, and then Killmonger. I mean, I think this path. I don't know who everybody else is using, especially now that it doesn't have the what's yours is mine. You don't have to have the weakness on. But I really feel like that Trinity, the Unholy Trinity with Void, Omega, and Killmonger is really ideal for this path. And if I were to do this path again, I'd bring the same team, and I'd just drop my 6-star Void for Sabretooth to help out Omega with keeping the spores up. And yeah, I mean, this fight's going long, and I'm trying to heal back up on the L3s, which cuts out on the damage that you're doing because you're taking off the spores. But yeah, I mean, this with the what's yours is mine, it's just not. No, I don't die right there. I know I die sometime soon, or I think it was sometime soon. Here I'm trying to kind of stall. I needed to get him to throw a special, and he's just not having it. Lock those spores back in. Need him to throw a special. I think maybe it's coming up where he just doesn't throw a special and I get cornered. But yeah, and I really hate it when when you're just like not opening. There we go. No, I didn't get cornered. But I really hate it when the AI is just like, you're not blocking and you're just like right in their face and they won't throw the special and you just get cornered. It's like super frustrating. Man, I went a lot longer than I remembered. I just know I do die. Don't recall when. I'm getting some decent spore. I mean, that spore damage right there, like 347, and there I go back in for a power drain and heal, and maybe I should just kept it on. Omega has been doing okay with the damage, generally speaking. But yeah, let's go Omega. I just remember dying, and I thought it was earlier, but maybe I get tagged right there. Get a little health steal, life steal on that. He hasn't evaded, and okay, there we go. There, I finally died, like I thought I did. And here we're gonna go back in with Killmonger. So Killmonger's gonna get this true strikes when you counter his specials, immediately counter specials. And yeah, that didn't help the start getting hit. And then I think the whole plan is to build up to an L3 with a whole bunch of the bleed stacks, and then light up the L3, and then just hopefully that those bleeds will kill him. So there we go. We countered the special. We get the true strike, and the true strike is quite long, and yeah, which is really nice because this guy's gonna have it's gonna look like he has his evade up like the whole fight, but in reality I got my true strike, which is basically negating it from happening. You can see evade failed, evade failed, evade failed over and over and over again. Probably should have thrown off one L2. I mean, the bleeds, they're only doing 79 damage. It's not a ton, but it is some damage. And then once I can't remember if I go much farther past 15. There I got 17 bleeds. I think I go to like 20, 22 or something like that. I think, maybe. Or I think maybe just get into Assassin's range. So here we got 19. We get reverb going. There's 21, 22. I think I do it here. Yeah, 11%. And he's got like 22 bleeds. And I think he just bleeds out right here. Yes. Yep. So Killmonger, we're going to utilize that bleed action in later fights. Now next up we got, so I'm looking at the map, I'm like, I got this Fury. I'm like, what am I going to do with this Fury? And I think the first thing I do, do I go in with Guardian? I think I go with Guardian. I'm like, well, I'll get some damage off. And yeah, some, but not very much. I literally forgot about only villains can really do damage and survive. It's just like once I got into this fight, I was like, oh, I am very quickly dying from the degen, and I don't do much, if anything. But Guardian, he doesn't have to be alive to have his synergy active and working. And yeah, it looks like I get like 4%. I mean, it's better than 0%. But yeah, so I'm like, oh, that's not gonna work. That didn't work as well as I had forgotten, that I can't really use a hero, a non-villain. So I go in with Omega, and I'm like, let's see what I can do with just 20% revive. And I think I die like right off the bat on this one. I know on one of the revives I die like, yeah, so it has to be right here, I think. Die super, super fast. I'm pretty certain. Maybe I last longer, but I think I end up using like 5 L1 revives. I don't think I healed up on any of these fights. Just trying to be aggressive and push him to L2 and beyond and keep some spores on him. Yeah. And you know, it's not pretty, it's not ideal. Obviously the damage is significantly gimped because of the What's Yours Is Mine was active when I completed this. Again, you know, this is before the nerf. This would be significantly easier now that it doesn't have the What's Yours Is Mine. I was trying to slow my combo down on that a little bit, and yeah, and I ended up throwing a special into his block and then dying. So I'm like, okay, let's go again. I'm not going to use Void or Killmonger just because they aren't ideal for this matchup, and I'm going to use them for the other fights that remain in this path. So I'm just trying to, play a little bit slow on the combo, and then locking in those spores. And we're getting about 350 a tick, which, I mean, it's not a ton, but it's damage. It's like what it looks like, 1% every couple seconds, which is actually it's not good. It's not great, but it is what it is. I wish I had. I don't remember if I do have resonate activated, but I just didn't feel like it was worth the units to drop my masteries and swap them around to just add it for this one path. And maybe it would have been for somebody else that didn't have a stack of revives and stuff in the stash and the overflow. But for me, I use a couple L1 revives here, and I knock out the Fury, and then we finish the path with the rest of my team with Killmonger and Void, and it's just really long. These are really long fights, and there's nothing too pretty about them. It's just trying to play slow, trying to play with what you got. Definitely not ideal, but I mean, here we're up to 20 spores, and what's the damage? We're getting 200 and 244. So we double the spores, and we got an extra 100 damage per tick, which is not great here. I'm trying to stall out as much as possible. Hopefully they doesn't throw his L1. Lock those 20 back in. So this is going pretty well right here, and I think I'm going to try to push him to L2. I throw a heavy into an L2. We push him right over. Now we're getting more spore damage. But we got to get him locked back in, and he kind of stalls out a little bit. There, we're getting locked in at 17. But now he needs to throw his special, and he does a little late to where I can't get something over 10. Here I'm gonna try to steal, and I think sometimes I'm just like, I need health. Looking back, I probably should have just locked in those spores and just forgot about the health. But look at that, 61 damage. Not great. And here I'm thinking that I can throw an L1 and lifesteal and kill him. Nope, don't kill him. Trying to hit into his block. There we go. He is dead. Now, I think I'm just going to try to dance around as much as possible here, without him getting to the 15 charges. And I think I'm going to get him to L2, and then I'm going to dance and just try to let him degen away, because that LMD dying is doing 492 a tick. That's more than my spore damage is locked in at 10. But man, it's still not fast. I mean, look at that, 77, 76, 75, 74. It's like 1% a second. So it's dang slow. And he's got 40 seconds worth more of degen to do. And I think I end up getting kind of cornered here, and so then I think I do an intercept. Yeah, do an intercept. With that, it's fairly predictable. Like when you start dancing like that, you can get fairly predictable as to when they will, dash in at you. All right, so we're at almost 50%. It's going pretty well. I think I dance a little bit more with them. Just rock back and forth. But yeah, this is not ideal, but I'm getting damage with the small revive. And yeah, now we're getting back cornered. We try to do an intercept, but he kind of backs off, and we get him on his dash back. And then I think we're going to get him to 30%. And then guess what? We actually got to fight this dude on the last 30. And this is where it cost me a few revives, just because that fury he has is pretty potent. He can easily go unblockable, and my damage is just is just super gimped. And yeah, and it's just sad. I mean, the damage is just not good. It's bad. I'll let this play out. I know I died like a couple times. But, you know, trying to do what I could. Yeah, so there I die. And, you know, I thought about, should I just heal up? Should I do what? I'm like, no, I'll just pump in a few L1 revives. I got plenty. And you can see, like, when I finish the map, I'm going to go claim them, and I'll have just tons of L1 revives. You know, it's nice that you can get basically an L1 revive per day for getting the 22-hour solo milestones. And, yeah, I mean, from doing questing and all kinds of stuff. I mean, I just got plenty of revives. Just there hasn't been much content out there that I haven't done yet. I mean, I've done everything where it actually cost me items to finish. I don't recall the last time I actually used an item on a quest other than like these variants. Or like, you know, the monthly quests, I don't ever use items to finish. A team of 5 is more than capable of clearing, you know, the Thronebreaker Cavalier difficulties for the event quest. But yeah, this is going to be a slugfest here, trying to dance and trying to get him to not throw his L1, throw some heavies, get some openings, push him to L2. And then just rinse and repeat. I think I died 2 more times. But I'll let this play out, and I'll see you at the next fight. All right, we're going back in. He's only got 5% left. It was like, what, 1,700 or something. But when you don't do much damage, like, that's still a lot to work with. And I think I clear him on this, I think. Or do I end up dying? I can't. Nope, there we go. I end up dying, trying to get an intercept in. Now he's got 4,700. And I'm like, put another revive in? I'm like, yeah, let's just put another revive in so I don't have to do anything with Killmonger or Void. I mean, I probably could have cleared this, and I think, do I die again? I don't remember. I think I killed this guy. He's got 2%. 2%. Don't want to push him to his L1. I do. It's unblockable. Yep, I died again. And then I'm like, oh man, that sucks. I think I end up going back in with Void and then just dancing around, doing the Void dance with some intimidating presence. I'm like, can I get 2k damage? That's all I need, which is all I got last time. A couple taps into the block. There we go. We got a Petrify. It's doing a massive 27 per tick. And we're just dancing. We don't want to take much of any blocks or anything on this dude. I probably could have attacked him right there, but I'm like, no, I'm going to wait. Now we're doing 54 a tick. Whew, and he died. Thank you, Nick Fury. That was fun. That was a long fight. All right, so now this fight, we're going to go in with Killmonger. And the whole plan is to get up to 50 of those bleeds, hit her with an L3, and then bleed her out. And Killmonger does the job. I want to try to push Quake to L2. You know, her L1 is obviously fully available, and, you know, I can get them. But every once in a while, you're just like a tad late, and you do not want concussions, because you have the chance of getting stunned. It's like 10% chance per concussion, or per aftershock, or whatever they're called. And then you get the concussion damage when those aftershocks detonate. So just pushing her to L2 is they're easy to just kind of stay back from. I can counter easily. You know, I'm spamming L2, so I got the indestructibles on my parries, which is helping minimize any damage. And then I'm just gonna back off. So like if she goes passive like that, instead of like tapping into her block, she takes some damage. I'm just gonna back off and then come back in for parries. And it's interesting because Killmonger, his indestructibles aren't working. Like if you see this, I took 106 block damage on that, another 106, but I still have my 4 indestructibles. So I'm not sure if they fixed this or not. I know that it was mentioned on the forums, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. I should be taking 0 damage. Granted, it's only 100. Like, I do have enough health on my Killmonger to deal with this stuff. And, you know, I probably should have spammed some L2s, but more L2s, and I forgot. But now that I'm over the 15 bleeds, if I launch the L3, you only get that bonus one time per fight. So I didn't want to do 26. I wanted to get to the max of 50 because I felt like, you know, those bleeds are pretty long and they're going to do some decent damage. So I'm going to let this play. I'm just going to keep trying to push her as much to L2 as possible. And we're going to get to those 50 bleeds. And she's actually going down faster. I mean, each bleed looks 129, so it's not terrible. And Quake's fairly easy to fight so long as she doesn't do some like random heavy stuff, which I don't think she does in this whole entire fight, which is nice. But yeah, I'll see you at the end when we launch that big L3 bleed. All right, we're just about there. We're at 47 bleeds. I think on this next combo, I'm going to get it 48 for 950. And we're going to push her to an L2 and then L3 after she launches all and releases all her power. And then we're gonna get some good bleed damage. So she's at 31%, 222 hits, and we're doing 2,300 a tick. And she's just going down, 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 and all the way down to 7%. So it didn't kill her, which is unfortunate. But I think I am getting right. I'm in assassins. I'm in the deep wounds range where I have more health than her, and each bleed is going to do 1%, and we finish her off, and we end up with 71% health. So that was a good fight, long fight, but manageable. And now we're gonna go in Corvus, and on this Corvus, we're gonna go in with Void. Corvus is immune to the bleed damage, and so Killmonger is not going to be the greatest option for dealing with this Corvus, like he was against that Quake. And we're just going to try to let those intimidating presence debuffs do their work. We're going to get to L2s and launch the L2s and hope for some weaknesses. And I think on this one, we actually do get a fair amount of weaknesses. And I think I do end up hitting into this dude's block and do some pretty significant damage on that one. The punk didn't throw his special, so I totally didn't get any bonus damage or potential bonus damage from that first L2. But yeah, we're just slowly getting back up to L2. Those intimidating presence debuffs, they're not doing much at all. We've done 10% with like 50 hits, which is nuts. That's like, it's really a shame. I think I'm gonna wait here. No, throw the L2. Does he throw his L1? Is he gonna throw a special this time? Come on, dude. You can do it. Does he not do it for 2 times in a row? I think he missed. What a punk. What a punk. But I know I do start doing some major damage to him pretty quick. So I think he does throw a special and I get the weaknesses. Sometimes, there we go. Double weaknesses. Okay, look at that damage right there. That is insane. That's some good numbers. And then it falls off. So I'm not sure why it falls off like that, but I know when those weaknesses get applied, like there is some major damage going on. And yeah, we got back to L2. We hit him with an L2 with some weaknesses. Still active, so we get some good damage. And here we get some. Look at that damage right there. So I don't know what's going on that causes the damage to be like peaked like that. Maybe I'll have to go back and reread the notes. Maybe there's something there where there's like a burst damage. I don't remember, but so those last L2s, man, they just totally melted this dude. We're just about done. I think we're going to hit him with one more L2 and we're gonna kill him. And we didn't really, we pretty much came in with the same amount of health. You know, the 1% heals, they keep him healthy with the block damage. And then here we go. So we got out that Corvus pretty good, and we're gonna go back in with Killmonger on this one. And Human Torch, you know, while Void is immune to incinerates, I'm just going to go in with Killmonger. And I'm going to basically try to do exactly what I did with Quake. Get a whole bunch of bleeds, launch an L3, and hopefully melt this dude with some bleeds before he melts me with his incinerates. And I think I do a fairly good job at evading his L1s. I want to keep him at his L1s. If you block the last of those 4 hits on the L1, you will build up his smolder, and that's definitely the last thing you want to do, especially on a long fight like this. You don't want him to have smolder. He has like I need to think back into his ability, but I know you have a chance of getting a smolder or an incinerate on you. And here we get smacked by the L2. Didn't get away from that. I'm like, no. But I took what, like about 30%, which I thought I was going to take more than that. There we go. We just hit the 15 bleeds. And we're just going to try to get as many as possible. And on this fight, I think comes in pretty clutch. Like, I keep just pushing him. I know I don't get to the 50, but I keep hitting the L2s and keep that one. I get hit again, and I get hit again, and I'm melting. I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, I got 12% left. I'm like, wonder how long I can last. If I can really keep this dude to his special ones and not look at his L2 ever again, because I usually just don't deal with it. And I know it's kind of got a delayed evade to it. I'm like, if I can just keep this guy to throwing L1s, I can deal with the parry chip damages going on, and we can get a big bleed off of. And yeah, so we're gonna keep spamming L2s. Unfortunately, the indestructibles aren't truly working like they should. All right, so here I'm like, no, I'm gonna redline it, and basically, if I get into any kind of trouble, or I'm just not feeling it, I'm gonna launch an L3. And so we got 32 bleeds. He's at 50%. I'm at 9%. Now at 8%. I've been blocking like the first hit on a couple of these L1s and taking a little bit of damage. Nothing too significant. Try to counter that special miss and then get him with on his dash in. We're at 7%, 39 bleeds. I'm like, this is going pretty good. You know, and the last thing I really want to do is not get a special 3 off and have all of that damage just sitting there doing nothing for me, where I have to come back in with Void and then take a super long time. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna risk it anymore. Throw the L3 that had what, 42 bleeds, and let's check out this bleed damage. We're doing 2k per tick, and we're just bleeding. I'm just gonna make sure that it bleeds all the way out as much as possible. Get him down to 17%. So I'm like, okay, 6% to 17%. Can we make it? We can make it. We can do it. Definitely, I'll tell you what, the Guardian synergy is helping. I would have been dead already for sure. The block damages on the parries and just like on some of those blocks on those L1s, it's definitely noticeable. And we're going in now. We're all tied up 5% to 5, now to 4. And I'm like, I'm gonna solo this dude, even though I messed up twice on his L2s. And I'm just like, where are my bleeds at? There's one bleed, doing 144 tick, get a nice intercept, boom. Torch is down. Whew. The weakness path is down, and we're gonna go stroll up to this Drax, who is a joke of a boss. He really doesn't have anything going for him. He's got the Tyrant, he's got aggressive, he's got specialist 2, and yeah, we're just gonna avoid this guy to death. Nothing too difficult. I mean, just don't get hit, right? Don't get hit, and Drax is a pretty simple defender to fight. His L1, and his L2 are very easy to just step back and watch and counter. And Void melts this guy, even though it's unawakened. He does the job. And so I ended up using like 6 revives on this path with, I think, like two level 4 health potions, where I used right at the beginning with Gulk on my 5-star Void. So overall, not too bad. super long. This path took an hour. Most of the paths were taking like 15 minutes. So 4 times as long, which makes sense. When you don't have a weakness buff on, you only get 25% damage. But yeah, that just, you know, it was a challenge. It was brutal, it was long, but made it through without too much cost, just a lot of time and a lot of patience. So yeah, I'll let this guy play out. Void is doing his thing. Unfortunately, I don't get Fear of the Void. But yeah, he still does this, no problem. I think I do end up with more health than I started with because of the Killmonger synergy. And yeah, we take this dude out. So guys, thanks for watching. I'll let this play out. Appreciate you for staying through any parts of my video, all the video. If you're watching, appreciate you. Thank you very much, and have a good one.